Well, hello, everybody. It must be Tuesday if Bobby Atkins is in here. We're a little late this morning. I had a little technical issues, but we're good to go now.
How you doing this Tuesday morning, Ed?
Great. I mean, it's going to be nice and cool today.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like an Arizona cool, right?
Yeah. If you were in the desert, this would be cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a cool day for Death Valley.
Yeah, that's right. Just be careful out there. It was funny. I was watching TV yesterday, and they were showing the usage of electricity in California, and we were 2,500 watts away from being shut down.
No kidding.
Yeah, going like rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
Good thing we're in MID area.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Yeah. I actually, plugged in 14 of the EVs at my house. I'm just kidding. I don't have an EV. But it's like, if we have a problem with air conditioners right now, how hot it was yesterday and going to be today and tomorrow and the next day. Sorry, I don't mean to ruin it for you, everybody. And our grid can't handle it. I just don't know how we're going to handle 30 million EVs.
Oh, yeah, no, that's completely unsustainable. And that's a conversation that, that people have been having. So like my degree is in electrical engineering, right?
What? I didn't know that. You didn't know you had a degree.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then why didn't you stay in as an officer?
Oh, no, that was after I got out. Yeah. Oh, no, trust me. I probably would have stayed in for 20 if I was an officer.
I wouldn't have, because I'd have to be a line officer and I would not want to be on a ship.
Oh, okay.
But enough about more. Go ahead. Your degree is in engineering.
Well, I was going to say back then, even, we were talking about how just solar, just in general, just isn't sustainable long term. The green energy thing is a total boondoggle. And at the end of the day, your electric car is really probably either coal or natural gas powered, right?
Oh, because where they got the electricity from.
Yeah. It's not magic. I mean,
they're going to keep the one last nuclear power plant open. Thank goodness. Because that's clean. So much. It's there can be an issue, but it's pretty much clean energy.
Yeah.
So, solar to a certain point, I was saying on one of the shows last week is wait till they eminent domain everybody's solar panels.
Oh, yeah. That's something to even think about.
You think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have them on the roof, and then we're going to come back and eminent domain those because they're not part of the house.
Yeah.
They're not real property because you can't include them into the value of the house because they're non-taxable. And so I never understood why they couldn't include in the value of the house, why they didn't, where you have to purchase them or lease them. Well, you don't tax them for the actual costs.
Yeah, that's, man. Where'd you come up with that angle
about them eminent domaining?
Yeah,
being on 6 hours of freaking radio last week and being a conspiracy theory person.
Yeah. Well,
I just thought it was like, can you imagine that? You make everybody get solar panels on their roofs, and then they say, all right, we're taking them from you, and you're going to now pay for them. What are you going to do?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, eminent domain, because you don't own the airspace above you anymore, right? You own in some places you own the mineral rights, in some places you don't, depending on what you bought and that kind of stuff. And a lot of places you don't own the rights only so high above your house. So, somebody would try to fight it, I'm sure, but, I'm sure that hasn't put it past them. That's what they might want to do. And I'm not trying to be weird out there, but it's just, I could see, there's a movie in the making.
Hey, in the last 2.5 years, man, anything that seemed to be conspiratorial has come true. So
yeah,
nothing's outside of the realm of possibility.
Well, the best thing, though, is let's get to real estate. All right.
Okay. We'll talk about houses.
All right. So, and one thing I want to talk about is, don't worry about rates. They're going to go up and down. Rates were better 2 weeks ago, and they were better and then they were worse 2 months ago. And it's how it's going to be. So find the house you want, make sure it works. Just understand if you were in the market a year ago and you want to buy the same house and the rates are to where your payment is going to be $300 more a month, right? You can't expect a lower payment in this market than you did before unless you go down in house. And that's a text you didn't get from me over the weekend from your question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But, to speak to that fact, right? So say the same house you wanted to buy last year is $300 more. You're also going to be not putting down all your life savings to get that offer accepted, right?
Right. And you're also can get closing costs to help pay for stuff.
Yeah.
So where your money can help you make that difference in the payment for the year or year and a half that you need to till you can refinance to a lower payment. So there's a lot of things that benefits from this market, which is it's a better time to buy now than any other time.
Yeah. I mean,
at least I saw an article that said it's the worst time to buy, but they were talking about affordability, right? Affordability is worse right now, but if you can afford it, well, that's also the negativity of affordability means there's less people out there for competition.
Yeah.
So it's the best time to buy if you can buy now. That's why people are still buying huge properties and properties in certain locations. And I know I cut you off, and I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine, man. No, it's normally it's the first time home buyer that's getting hurt whenever rates just a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's a first time move up, whatever. People are thinking twice. And I said this a long time ago where I was watching one of my old videos that we did, and I was saying how I thought existing home sales was going to drop to like 50 or less % because people had a low interest rate and they were too worried about buying up. Right. So now they usually when a family, something happens, something in your life happens and you change homes. Like I have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Now I just have 2 more kids coming because I have twins. Now I need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And now it's time to move up, or a 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of people buying a 3-bedroom, 2-bath and not moving up and throwing more kids in one room than moving up right now because of
That's me. Yeah.
because of the interest rate issue and how much more it is. And after the kids leave, why do I want to buy down? Right. There's just, I see more people buying the one home and staying in that one home a lot longer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the way it used to be, right? I mean, if you look back, so I'm in the Loma area, right? Every house that was built back then was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Parents went in one room, kids went in the other room, and then over the years, houses have gotten bigger and we've, become more affluent as a country and as individuals. And so kids having their own bedroom was a luxury, but yeah, I mean, people see the value in it and they say, well, you know what, if we can hold out a couple more years.
Well, I just see that. So that means less houses come on the market. So we need more newer houses. And that's where the big thing pushes ADUs in the backyard. Well, that's not going to help everything. That's not a new house. That's just someone else to live with you.
Yeah. Well, and putting an ADU in your backyard, you have a lot to consider, because if you're renting to family, that's one thing, right? But when you're renting to strangers,
that's another thing.
Yeah, because I mean that is, they are literally connected to your property.
And renting for you to one of your kids, it's no different than it being in your house or back there. They're still your problem.
Yeah, but you can talk to them a little different. Well, so I have some neighbors who've put ADUs or converted parts of their house into an accessory dwelling unit, right? And they've been renting to travel nurses with good luck.
Like they've had good luck with doing that
with the tenants. Yeah, they haven't.
So you said this. You said it like good luck with that. That's kind of how it came across. So no, that's really good. I know somebody else who owns, their daughter does that. She buys property and rents them to travel nurses. Yeah,
for anybody who's looking for investment properties, there is always a market for travel nurses looking for housing. Because coming from the apartment business, for us, it didn't make sense. It was a short-term rental and it added a lot of expense. We had to meet our numbers every month for having percentages as far as rentals. So it hurt us in the apartment business. But as an individual owner, obviously you're able to get a premium in rates. And if you furnish it, what they get in per diem every month covers their rent easily, no problem.
Right. Yeah. Since you brought up apartments, I told you I was part of that hacking real estate series.
Yeah.
And they dropped so they started it last week. It was the 31st, and it's every week they're dropping an episode. I'm not trying to promote myself in it because I'm not released yet, but they had I'm going to share the screen. Let's see here. So they had this one. All right. So get rich with debt. Let's see here. Let me point to the guy with the marker over him. He's the apartment king. And he talked about how he built his business over the last 20 years by buying apartments. And he talked about how he got into it and the whole thing. And he was like the last, so there's like 3 people on it. They probably had each one a fourth, and he had the last half. And it was really interesting how he got into. So you're talking about apartments, and that's something people could get into. I know we don't work with apartment people because it's a totally different world, but I'm just talking real estate in general. If there's so many aspects of real estate that you can get into, and you should, but buy your house first and then do the other stuff. And that's what he did. He was an engineer, speaking of degrees, and he went to work. He hated it, then went into sales, and then got fired. He got this, and then he kind of fell into this industry and then bought his first 31 unit, and then he was hooked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and just talking about falling into this business, I think that's kind of the story of most of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty rare when you see a young person, say, well, I'm 18 years old, I want to get my real estate license,
Right. I want to be a mortgage broker when I grow up.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say most of us have been homeowners or own a couple homes before we even think about getting in real estate, right?
Right. And that's the thing. But our big push, you and I and other people I work with, it's about getting that you into a home.
Yeah.
That's what our big
Absolutely.
building personal wealth through homeownership. Get your first home and then figure out what to do after that. If you got kids, get them into a triplex, a fourplex, have them, in that first unit. But be careful with that, because if you go in FHA, you can't be a non-occupant co-borrower. You can, but then the thing goes from 3.5% down to 25% down. So be careful with that. So help them purchase it by maybe their down payment, that kind of stuff, but they need to be able to carry the whole thing.
Yeah. And, for people who do question about whether there's value in owning, a home, think about someone who bought a house back in 2017, 2018, and how crazy the market got in the last couple of years. People, they were moving out of state. I would say an average of the equity I saw was about 200,000.
We went up 66% in Modesto in the last 3 years.
So
I mean, if you had a $250,000 house, now you're close to 600.
Yeah. Well, and that is a huge down payment, or sometimes depending on where in the country you're moving.
Is that right? That's 200%. Sorry, keep going. I'll figure this out.
That's all right. You're the math guy.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep talking.
But yeah, I mean, that was a huge benefit to a lot of these folks. And, if they had just been renting an apartment, they would have, not had all that equity to help with the purchase of a home wherever they landed.
I was wrong. It's 400. So if you bought a $300,000 house, it'd be for like 498,000. So that's almost 200 grand you made, just like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there's places that people still haven't, the market still hasn't moved out there, like, is the way I kind of look at it. Right.
Where?
A lot of the Midwest states,
yeah.
You can still find a killer deal out there,
but you got to live there.
True. As long
as they
you
have mosquitoes, but they have humidity, but they have tornadoes, but they have, you want me to keep going?
Well,
mosquitoes. I know how to get rid of your mosquitoes. There's this little device that you put, it's a propane tank on, and you turn it on, and the mosquitoes go to that, and it gets trapped in there and they die.
Oh.
And I did it at my old house on Keepsake, because my neighbor next to me didn't have his drainage in his yard very well. And so it'd back up some water pooling here and there. And we had mosquitoes really bad. And finally, gotcha. I like, dude, just tie into my drain to go out so we can get this stuff out of here.
Yeah.
And of course he didn't, because he was anyway. And so he put in his own thing, and that's fine. Works for me as long as you get this water out of here. But I had to get one of those. And I mean, the basket, that it's just a bag, but it would fill up like you would not believe, with hundreds of mosquitoes, and then they would die in there. So yeah, so there's ways to get rid of them instead of that little buzz thing. Bzz, bzz,
That's just entertaining, right?
Yeah, I know, but there's actually ways, good ways to get rid of stuff.
So if you're okay with snow in the winter and potentially storms and stuff like that, then
major changes.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And you're right. If you're making that's why we had a lot of people between $50,000 to $100,000 income move out of the state, because you can't really afford anything anymore in that price point.
Yeah,
unless two people are making it, right? So it's just tough. And even like I had somebody who wanted to buy up in Tuolumne County. We're tired of renting and blah, blah, blah. And I ran their numbers. It was like, can't, you're on a fixed income. You're this, you're that. It just, your numbers don't work. You can only afford a $200,000 house or $225,000. And there's really nothing anywhere that I know of around here that you can find that.
Well, and I mean, for people that are probably in that fixed income bracket, they're probably looking for a slower paced life, right?
Right. And that's the thing, is they need to, but most people don't want to move. You say that, but they have their family here, there are other people here. You're right. But most people don't want to move. But the problem, what they're going to run into, is rents are going to outpace them, and it's not going to happen. I talked about, in my book, building personal wealth or homeownership, financial freedom, building personal wealth or homeownership. I talked about a client who didn't get into contract, right? Then wanted to save more money, and then came back, and now it's more expensive. And then now rates changed, and what happened during that period of time and then now she's price point now getting pushed out because rents are even higher. And so it's a unfortunate situation, but if you can afford, buy now.
Yeah.
Because rents are going to continue to go up crazy. You can check rents in the United States, and it'll tell you, Google it or whatever, DuckDuckGo it, whatever you want to do. And you'll be surprised how much rents are going up everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and you can kind of get an idea, take a look at the rents, right? Because rents are really dynamic. I mean, say we used to have like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath come on the market that was remodeled, right? And we'd say, well, let's see if we're going to rent it for $1,650. Well, the next person comes in and rents it and says, oh, that's not a bad price. Well, that's the new price. And then next thing you know, all the properties talk to each other and say, yeah, I'm renting mine for $1,650. Why not? And the rental market changes a lot faster than the housing market. So
Right.
if you're seeing a trend of things, you're getting priced out, just do it now.
Well, we're talking about payment. So the most important thing is, the one thing you can do with buying a home is fix your payment.
Yeah.
And it's going to stay there until you refinance or take more money out, whatever you do, and drop the rate. But that's what your payment will be. You don't have to worry about someone coming in and now say, okay, your payment's going up 5%, like they do on rent, right? It's not going to happen. So the best way to protect yourself in this market, inflation and everything, is to buy a home and have your payment fixed.
For people who have had kids, right? If you try and plan and say, well, you know what, I don't want to have children until I have a great job and I have money saved, and you check all the boxes, right? You'll probably wait too long. You won't have kids. And kind of the same goes with the house, right? Like if you buy a house, you'll figure it out. You'll figure out where you can save money, how you can, maybe not go out to eat as often. Don't get Starbucks in the morning. But having
is a bad man.
Am I? I sound like a ton of fun, huh?
Don't have any fun.
Yeah.
Stay home. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you to buy the house, because eventually you'll get used to the payment. I had somebody, they were like, oh, that's like a $300 more. I go, you know what? You'll eventually get used to it then, because if your rent keeps going up, you're not going to get used to it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you're going to stress about that.
Yep. And then that's the way it is.
Yeah.
All right. So buy now. It's still a great time. Don't worry about rates. They're going to fluctuate. They're going to go one way or another. You can always refinance down the road. This isn't your last loan, right? Everybody says this isn't your forever home. Well, this definitely is not your forever loan.
Yeah.
This might be your forever home, but this definitely is not your forever loan. We will be refinancing you down the road. We're going to see inflation change supposedly in the last quarter of this year, in the next year. So that means rates will go down. And plus, I think we're in a much worse situation than we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially after November.
We're going to sign off like that, man.
What I mean is, we're in a worse situation, which is better for buying houses. Once you're in a recession, and rates are going to go down in a recession, house values go up in a recession. We've only had 2 recessions where they didn't. That was the Great Recession, which really wasn't a recession. It should have been coined a depression. And that was a financial crisis. That was different. Unusual housing market caused everything. We overbuilt. That's the whole thing I talked about in Hacking Real Estate, that when my segment comes out, I talked about all that kind of stuff in that whole segment. And we just need to focus on, it is a great time to buy. Rates are going to be where they're at. It might be a little harder right now, but you can get through it.
Yeah.
Is that better? Is that a better end?
That is, man.
All right. So reach out to us. Let's get you into a home. Reach out to Bobby. His phone number is right there. You can find me at edparcaut.com, or find me everywhere at edparcaut. All right.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ed.
All right. Make it a great day, you guys.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Hold on here.